What's shaking? Hey, welcome back to the show after Christmas. How was your holiday weekend? I'm Rick Jordan, and today we're going all in. I hope you went all in this weekend by hanging out with family, and having a good time. If you didn't listen to the episode before Christmas, which was last week, go back and listen to that because, the holidays are still here, right? And we're still having some good times with family and friends. We got New Year's coming up. And go back and listen to that one after you listen to this. And then I've got an awesome fire episode coming for you in just a couple of days with relationships and how to start the new year off. But today we're going to talk about setting yourself up, right? Starting to prep for this stuff because this is an awesome week. And I'm actually going to encourage you to do something a little crazy this week. And that's to take a rest. I want you to start to focus on what you're looking for this coming year. I want you to take a rest from the doing. I want you to take a rest from the grind just for the next couple of days. That's it. I want you to take a rest from having to feel like you have to get so much done before the new year is here and this year is closed out with 2022. Now I'm saying this because at the same time, it's like I'm pushing, right? And of course, there's last minute sales that you could close. There's a lot of things that you could get done this week. It's possible, yes. So maybe you had some things set already, but I'm going to be real, right? If you're in sales right now, this is not the week that you're going to close something new with a brand new prospect, most likely, because there's these things called sales cycles. It could be a nice push for the end of the year, but if you didn't start that process with your prospect a couple of weeks ago, you're not closing it this week, unless you have somebody that just urgently needs you right now. So this week, what I want you to do, besides the things that you've already had in motion, that's what I'm saying. This is not the week to start something new, from ground zero and try to get it done before the end of the year. This is the year, the week to close things out, the things that you've already had going, that the momentum's already built for. That way, the grind I'm talking about is to start launching something new, like a continuation of just that hustle, right? Because I'm not a big fan of just doing the work just to do the work. There has to be an outcome in your mind, and that's what I want you to focus on next year. And why I really want you to take this time to create this space to think. Because if you throw the hustle out, if you throw the grind out the window, it frees up this space in your head. It frees up this bandwidth of your thoughts. It frees up this lane for you to start to go down, to start to dream. Because you have to continue to dream as you go into next year. This is the time to even dream new dreams. And I'm not talking about resolutions because resolutions are stupid. I talk about them every year. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying give yourself right now, this week, space to breathe. Do what you have to do, the things that have already been in motion. But beyond that, create this void in your mind so that good things can start to come and fill it. New things, fresh things that you couldn't even possibly imagine because you haven't allowed for that time, that space to actually allow those things to enter your thought process, enter your psyche, enter your core, enter your soul. That's what this week is for. Start to begin to dream about exactly what you want. And what I want you to do as you go into next year, if you want to do a vision board, if you want to just write some things down, that works too. I always talk about in business how you should at least twice a year, if not every quarter, release a new product or service because that allows you to stay relevant, to stay fresh. Well, what about your life? How do you stay relevant and fresh in your life? What if you had something new that you did, even if it's like a new book or a new thing that you've had for the longest time you've thought about, to actually begin to start towards that process now, or start to design the room for that in your life. That's what this week is for, is allowing yourself that space to breathe, allowing yourself that space to move forward, allowing yourself freedom from all of the guilt, all of the worry, all of the self-deprecation, all of the weight that you've been carrying this past year. When you release those things, you'll be able to start to have this space and this freedom to be able to know what you actually want. So let's put the hustle aside for just a few days. I want you to listen to the episode Thursday too, because it's going to give you some practical and applicable things to go into next year. But for right now, with me, just breathe with me right now. Ready? Close your eyes. This is your space to breathe. Take the time this week. Look around you. See the amazing things that you have. Because you can start to fill that space, fill those thoughts with things that you're thankful for what's coming out of last year. Because I want you to go into this coming year with a mind of gratitude, with a heart of thankfulness. Because that's how you're going to release the weights from this past year. That's how you're going to release the worries from this past year. So do this first. First, write down 5 things. Today, do it today. Write down 5 things that you're grateful for this past year. Just 5 things. 5 things that happened, 5 things that came into your life, 5 people that came in your life, 1 of each of those categories, 2 of each of those categories, whatever. 5 things that you're grateful for from 2022. Then after you go through that, get into a quiet space and do this too. Maybe it's in the morning when you're sipping your first cup of coffee. I don't know what it is. Maybe you're thinking about it when you're working out and you just start typing it into your notes app on your phone. That's cool too. But the first step is to take 5 things that you're grateful for and write those down. 5 things that came into your life that happened in 2022. And then next, what I want you to do is take 5 things. Remember, I was talking 1 a quarter, right? So we're going to do 1 a quarter and then a bonus one for the entire year next year. Take 5 things that you want to see happen next year. And I want you to be very careful with this one, okay? I want you to take this from a creation aspect, not a running away aspect. I've had episodes on that before where I've talked about this, is I want you to create what you want this coming year. Not run away from something that you didn't want in 2022. That's why I'm saying start with the gratitude. Start with those 5 things because it puts you in the right mind. After you write down the things that you're grateful for, the 5 pieces of gratitude for 2022 that came to you in 2022, then go into 5 things that you want for this coming year. It doesn't have to be time-based. It shouldn't be time-based, but just things you want to happen this year, things that you want to create. So let's say that you had a crappy relationship, right? Here's an example. You had a crappy relationship in 2022. You could actually be grateful for that, right? Instead of saying, I don't want that. That sucked. I'm glad this year's over. You can be like, man, I am grateful that I learned through that. I learned X, I learned Y, I learned Z. I'm grateful that I learned exactly what I want. I'm grateful that I learned more about myself through that relationship. And then in 2023, you could transition that over into saying, you know what? I want someone who is at this phase of their life. I want a relationship with somebody that is like this, not somebody that isn't like that, right? Looking at the negative, but I want somebody that is like this. Or maybe it's a job and say, man, my job sucked. I got fired a month ago. I really need to quit. They didn't give me a bonus, whatever. This job sucks. I don't want a job like this anymore. You can say, you know what? I'm grateful that I was able to pay all my bills this year. I'm grateful that I was able to have a job that provided me income to get Christmas gifts for my family this past year. That's awesome. And you know what? This coming year, what I want is I want a new job that will allow me to move into a new home. I want a new job that will give me a 20% income boost so that I can move to this different state that I've been looking towards. So that I can start my business because I'll have a little extra cash on the side so I can start investing. I want this job for next year. See what I'm talking about? The gratitude that you have from 2022, when you create that space and you eliminate the worry, the negativity, the weight, and you allow gratitude to fill it, that is the seed of creation for your life, for what you want. So first, it's 5 things. Write down that you're grateful for, and then going into next year, 5 things that you want to see, that you want to create in your life. And make sure you listen to the episode coming up this Thursday. It's fire. You're going to love it. It's going to give you some practical ways to do a lot of these things. I love you. Thanks for being with me. I am grateful for you listening this past year. You're amazing. And thanks for going all in with me.